Hi guys, today I'm here to do my November wrap-up and my December TBR. I read 9 books in December and I finished my Goodreads challenge, so I'm really not going to put a lot of pressure on myself in December. The first book that I read in November was The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. I listened to this on audiobook and I highly recommend listening to it on audio. This is about an old man who gets a letter from someone from his past. She writes to tell him that she's dying and he feels the need to walk all the way to her. He believes through the entire book that if he walks for her, then she won't die. This was just a really sweet story, and I loved all of the characters in it. I loved the adventure of him walking all the way to her, and you get a lot of backstory of his past. I highly recommend picking this one up, and I gave this one 5 stars. The next one that I picked up was Heartless by Marissa Meyer. The Lunar Chronicles is my favorite book series, so I went out and bought this the day it came out. I read it in about a day and a half, and I absolutely loved this book. This is a retelling of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. This is all about the Queen of Hearts. Actually, when I read it, I thought the villain was going to be the Queen of Hearts. I didn't realize it was all centered around the Queen of Hearts, so I was pretty devastated when I got to the end. I really should have read what the book was actually about, and I wouldn't have been so devastated. But I absolutely love this book. Marissa Meyer can do no wrong in my eyes, and I gave this one 5 stars. Then I got to read 3 books in the rereadathon. The first one that I picked up was Amulet. I absolutely love this series, so I thought this would be really fun to reread. And I sped through it, and I loved it just as much as I did the first time, and I gave this one 5 stars. Then I picked up Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. I thought it'd be fun to listen to on audiobook. Unfortunately, I only got the first one on audiobook, and I read Through the Looking Glass just in this edition. I really enjoyed it on audio, and I look forward to listening to Through the Looking Glass on audio as well. The last one that I picked up for the rereadathon was The Great Gatsby. I wanted to read it in this big illustrated edition, but I really just didn't have the time. I found this one on audio as well, and I listened to it, and I loved every minute of it. I gave this one 5 stars. Then I finally finished The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway. I've been reading this one for a couple months now. This is about a group of people who travel from France to Spain, and it's just kind of their nightlife there and all of the bullfighting. I didn't know anything about bullfighting until I read this book, and I just think it's absolutely despicable, but I still really enjoyed the book. I just don't understand why people like to bullfight. But other than that, I really liked the characters and the storyline, and I gave this one 4 stars. Then I picked up My Lady Jane by Cynthia. I listened to this on audiobook as well. This was the Ready, Set, Read book club book last month, and I didn't get around to it, but I finally got to it this month, and I really enjoyed it. It's a retelling of Lady Jane, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious. I loved the narration in it. It was a fantasy book, and I'm not big on fantasies, but I really did like this book, and I gave it 4 stars. Then I did a buddy read with Aoife from Fred Weasley Died Laughing, and we read A Man Called Ova. I don't know how to pronounce this. I think the audiobook says Uva, so that's the way I'm saying it. This is about an old man who is really bitter and he doesn't like anyone around him, and his relationships with all of his neighbors, and we get to see into his past. And I really love seeing his relationship with his wife when we would flashback. This was just a really cute, heartwarming story, and I gave this one 4 stars. And the last book that I read in November was The Lord of the Rings: Fellowship of the Ring. I've been reading this book since March of 2015, and I don't know why it's taken me so long to get through. I had high expectations for this because the Lord of the Rings movies are my favorite movies. Really, the book didn't live up to the movie, and I know the book was first, but I watched the movies first. This had a lot of fantasy in it, and I just said I don't really care for fantasy, so it was really hard for me to get through. I finally picked it up on audio, and I absolutely loved the narrator for it. He did all of the voices that sounded just like the movie. I highly recommend checking out the audiobook on this. I gave this one 4 stars. Okay, quickly onto what I want to read in December. I plan on picking up Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I have this on audiobook read by Tim Curry. I also want to pick up The Love Song of Miss Queenie Hennessy. This is the sequel to The Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. Lastly, I plan on finishing Islands in the Stream by Ernest Hemingway. I have been reading this book for months now. I'm really enjoying this book. It's just really big and there are no chapters, and I find that that really slows me down. But if I decide to read nothing else but this book, I am definitely going to finish this month. I haven't been doing my TBR jar because I've been so behind on my Ernest Hemingway, but I'm going to pick it back up this month. So these are all of my modern classics and classics. Okay, so I drew out The Discarded Image by C.S. Lewis. I don't know anything about this, but it's kind of funny that I drew this out. The day that I'm filming this is actually C.S. Lewis's birthday. It seems like a really short read, so I think I'm going to get through it pretty quickly, and I've really been wanting to read some more of his books. If I have time, I'd really like to read a cozy mystery, maybe something Christmas themed, so if you guys have any suggestions on what I should try, please let me know. I will leave all of the books that I mentioned down below, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!